Ubisoft is in an absolute state of disaster right now. They just fired the Assassin's Creed franchise boss. The co-studio with Tencent didn't go over well with gamers, and now it looks like they are going through even more layoffs. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, when a studio makes bad games, time after time after time, yeah, they had to have known that something like this was going to happen. And now Massive Entertainment, a Ubisoft studio who had made Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, The Division, and Star Wars Outlaws, is going through major layoffs. Now, I think that it's so funny that they posted this massive statement just to say, yeah, we're getting rid of people. It says, as part of our ongoing evolution and long-term planning, we have recently realigned our teams and resources to strengthen our roadmap, ensuring our continued focus on the Division franchise and the technologies, including Snowdrop and Ubisoft Connect, that power our games. To support this transition responsibly, we introduced a voluntary career transition program, giving eligible team members the opportunity to take their next career step on their own terms, supported by a comprehensive package that includes financial and career assistance. Massive Entertainment remains fully committed to our roadmap and to creating great experiences for our players around the world, including The Division 2, The Division 2 Survivors, The Division Resurgence, and The Division 3. These projects continue with strength, focus, and ambition, and we look forward to sharing more in the future. Now, what they're not talking about are the games that they are inevitably dropping or development is done on, like Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. That is a game that actually had quite a bit of hype behind it initially, but it came out, it was buggy, it was broken, it didn't have a lot of in-depth systems. It was just a really mediocre game in general. And then Star Wars Outlaws made them no money. They put the most amount of money they ever had towards the marketing campaign for that game, and it still underperformed. And while those games have either wound down on development or they've just dropped them like a rock, they aren't talking about maybe those teams that were still making content for updates up until recently. Because look at Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, they only just recently announced that they're finally adding a third-person mode to that game. Star Wars Outlaws was still supposed to have another round of DLC. It seems like those titles are just kind of done and over with, but Massive Entertainment clearly is going through massive problems right now, and Ubisoft in general is they need to refocus on what made them successful in the first place. And I don't necessarily know if making a bunch of new Division games is really what people want or really is what people are expecting. But I guess when they're trying to create these new series like Avatar and Outlaws and they didn't go well, they should go back to the drawing board. And I suppose they just think the Division is their best case to make money. I don't know if I agree with that, but tons of gamers are now pointing and laughing because keep in mind, the Access Media had said all of these games were going swimmingly. Avatar had so much potential and so many people are going to love it. Star Wars Outlaws, that didn't go poorly. The evil chuds are just lying to you, and of course we were proven right time and time again, but now gamers are ruthlessly mocking them. Corpo speak for, so you guys are fired. Asmund Gold said, welcome home, put the fries in the bag. Massive layoffs, Ubisoft is over party, y'all are getting replaced with AI, and as I always say, I don't like the idea of AI replacing human beings. I think AI is an okay tool when used in moderation. I don't think that it should be completely replacing people's jobs. But in this case, these developers are not actually making good content. In a lot of cases, they're just activists who found their way into the industry because of corporate checklists. And so they had to hire a certain percentage of women or people of color or X, Y, and Z sexuality. And then these people got jobs that they really didn't deserve in the first place. People should be hired based on their merits, not the color of their skin or their gender. But we know that's not really the way that the mainstream industry works now. And it is sad that people are getting laid off because inevitably there are a few good apples in this bunch that lost their job. But it's like with localizers, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sit here and shed a tear for you and feel bad for you and run to your defense when you have ruined our entertainment. Now, I really don't know how Ubisoft is going to save themselves in general. I know that the co-studio Vantage with Tencent is supposed to be a really big deal for them now that they've got their hands on Far Cry and Assassin's Creed, and they're really supposed to be coming up with long-term strategies for these series, but I do not trust Ubisoft. I don't think I will ever trust them again, and I don't trust Tencent either. So we're talking about just what sounds to me to be another desperate attempt to save their company. Now, will it work? Who knows? But at the same time, they have to downsize a lot of their teams. They have to try to come up with better ways to make money. And I guess they're just going all in on the division. And a lot of gamers are just saying, why would anybody want a million division games anyway? Career transition program is some real dystopian business speak for firing people. Voluntary career transition program, and we all know that that's not the case. They were probably told, hey, listen, you're going to be fired in the next 6 to 8 weeks, so you might as well join this program and try to find something in the meantime. Voluntary career transition, bitch, please just call them layoffs. It's so funny that companies will do anything but say the truth. They'll always try to look like the good guys and say, oh my gosh, we're trying to help people through these difficult times. No, you're not. You do not care because you fired them. They're clearly not good at their jobs, which is why you didn't want to keep them around. And therefore, as a corporate entity, you're not going to cry over the fact that a couple of people are no longer on your payroll. This is without question one of the most poorly written layoff press releases I've ever read in my life. And we've been talking again a lot about Ubisoft and everything they're going through. In my opinion, the company that says microtransactions make the player experience more fun is not a company I have a lot of faith in going forward. I don't know why anybody ever believed that a company like this ever cared about their player base, ever cared about their employees, ever cared about the health and state of the industry. They just care about lining their pockets, which of course a company should be worried about, but they are the ones who hired activists over the years. They are the ones who allowed these people to write what they wanted and not keep a closer eye on them. And that's why they've had so many terrible games released. They've had hundreds of millions of dollars to put into singular projects, never mind the billions they put into tons of games. And they're not hiring talented people. That's why you end up with Skull and Bones, X-Defiant, Star Wars Outlaws, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, tons of games that have been major failures and that did not live up to their expectations, and they think they can turn everything around with a few more microtransactions and say, oh, it's okay because it makes everything more fun for people, which definitely is a lie. So right now, gamers are pointing and laughing at everything that Massive Entertainment is going through, and like I always say, I do not revel in the fact that people are losing their jobs, but at the same time, if you suck so much at your job, you probably don't deserve to have it. So I'm curious to see if anybody that was laid off ends up coming out and trashing Ubisoft and leaks any information. We've been getting a lot of situations like that over the past couple of weeks, but for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this important and informative, make sure to give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.